A woman is out at the bar with her girlfriends when an incredibly tall, handsome man walks in. She can't stop staring. He notices, walks right up to her and whispers, "I'll do anything you want for $20, but you only get 3 words to tell me." She pauses, smiles, slips him a $20 bill and says, "Clean my house." During a logic exam, the professor asks a student, "Professor, there are 500 bricks on a plane. One falls out. How many are left?" Student, "That's easy. 499. Professor, "Correct. Next question. How do you put an elephant into a refrigerator in 3 steps? Student, Step 1, open the fridge. Step 2, put the elephant inside. Step 3, close the fridge. Professor, good. Now how do you put a deer into the refrigerator in 4 steps? Student, Step 1, open the fridge. Step 2, take the elephant out. Step 3, put the deer in. Step 4, close the fridge. Professor, excellent. Next question. The Lion King is having a birthday party. Every animal shows up except one. Why? Student, because the deer is still in the fridge. Professor, perfect. One more. Can Grandma cross a swamp full of crocodiles? Student, of course. The crocodiles are all at the Lion King's party. Professor, very good. Now the final question. Grandma made it safely across the empty swamp, but she still died. Why? Student, she drowned? Professor, no. The brick that fell from the plane hit her. 3 Scots and 3 Irishmen were headed to a conference by train. At the station, the Irishmen each buy a ticket, while the Scots only buy one. "How are 3 of you going to ride on just 1 ticket?" asks an Irishman. "Watch and learn," replies a Scot. On the train, the Scots all cram into a bathroom. When the conductor knocks, a hand slips out with 1 ticket. He takes it and moves on. The Irishmen are amazed. On the way back, the Irishmen copy the trick and buy just 1 ticket. But this time, the Scots don't buy any tickets at all. "How will you ride without a ticket?" asks an Irishman. "Watch and learn," says the Scot. Once on board, the Irishmen squeeze into a bathroom. The Scots go into another one nearby. Then one Scot slips out, walks over to the Irishman's door, knocks, and says, "Ticket, please." The lion was proud of his position as king of the jungle. One day, he decided to be sure that all the other animals knew that he was the king. He started with a monkey. "Who is the king of the jungle?" And the monkey chattered, "You are. You are. You are." The lion let out a mighty roar of approval. Next was a tiger, to whom he asked the same question. The tiger bowed down and said, "Everyone knows that you are, O mighty lion." As the lion strutted away, he saw an old bull elephant. "Who is the king of the jungle?" he demanded of the elephant. The elephant immediately grabbed the lion with his trunk, whirled him around in the air 10 times, and slammed him into a tree. Then he pounded him into the ground with his feet, gored him with his ivory tusks, and finally threw him in the watering hole. The lion, bruised, battered, and beaten, struggled to his feet. "Look," he told the elephant, "just because you don't know the answer is no reason to get upset." An American, an Indian, and a Chinese man end up in hell and beg the devil that they don't belong there. The devil, bored, makes them an offer. "I'll strike you 3 times with my whip. If you survive, I'll let you go. You can use anything you want as a shield. The American goes first. He builds a high-tech shield of uranium and composites. First strike, it cracks. Second, it shatters. Third, the American is gone. The Indian goes next. He folds into a deep yoga trance. First strike, nothing. Second, just a tremor. Third, he grunts, but survives. The devil, impressed, sets him free. The Indian asks, "May I stay and watch?" "I want to see what the Chinese do." The devil turns to the Chinese man. "And what will you use as a shield?" The Chinese man smiles. "Why, the Indian, of course." There was once a sheep farmer who needed help with the difficult task of castrating some of his inferior male sheep to keep them from breeding with the females. He hired a French guy who didn't speak English, but was a very good worker. After the first day, they had successfully castrated 14 sheep, and his French worker was just about to throw away the parts. But the sheep farmer yelled, "No! Don't throw those away! My wife fries them up and we eat them. They're delicious, and we call them sheep fries." Later that day, the French hired hand came in for supper, and indeed, the sheep fries were tasty. The next day, they castrated 16 sheep, and the following evening they all settled down to another supper of sheep fries. The third day, however, when the sheep farmer came home, he asked his wife where the French hired hand was. She said, "You know, it was the weirdest thing. I told him since there weren't very many sheep fries this evening, we were also going to have French fries." Then he screamed and ran like hell. There were 3 men who wanted to buy toilets, so they went to the nearest store and were looking at the new designs of the toilets. The first guy asks for a toilet that would go nice in his log cabin out in the woods, so the salesman sells him a toilet made of wood. The second guy asks for a toilet that would be nice for an igloo, so the salesman sells him a toilet made of ice. The third guy asked for the nicest toilet they have that would go in the National History of Canada Museum's employee restroom, so the salesman sells him a singing toilet with a picture of the Canadian flag on the tank. Well, they all get what they asked for. The next day, all 3 men come back with their toilets. The first man says, "This toilet sucks. Whenever I try to use it, I get pieces of wood stuck in my butt." The second man says, "This toilet sucks. Whenever I try to use it, my butt gets frozen to the seat and I have to use a hairdryer to get my butt off." The third man says, "This toilet is too patriotic. Whenever I want to use the toilet, I sit down and the toilet plays "Oh Canada" and I have to stand up." At 85 years old, she decided to indulge herself with a night at a luxurious hotel. The next morning, as she checked out, she was handed a bill for $450. Shocked, she demanded an explanation. "It's a beautiful hotel," she said, "but $450 for one night? I didn't even have breakfast." The desk clerk politely explained that it was the standard rate, but she wasn't satisfied. "I want to speak to the manager." When the manager arrived, he calmly began listing the hotel's amenities. This hotel boasts an Olympic-sized pool and a world-class conference center, both available for your use. "But I didn't use them," she protested. "True," the manager replied with a smile, "but they were here and you could have." He continued, highlighting the top-tier entertainment the hotel provided. "We host renowned performers from around the globe." "I didn't see any shows," she snapped. "Perhaps not," the manager said, undeterred, "but they were available, and you could have." After several minutes of back and forth, with the manager listing amenities she hadn't used, the woman sighed and decided to settle the bill. She pulled out her checkbook, wrote a check, and handed it to the manager. When he glanced at it, his brow furrowed. "Madam, this is for only $50. "That's correct," she said with a sly grin. "I'm charging you $400 for sleeping with me." The manager, flabbergasted, stammered, "But I didn't." "Well," she replied, her eyes twinkling, "too bad." "I was here, and you could have..."